Orangevale Recreation and Park District meeting Thursday, February 10th. To order, it's a regular meeting. Time start 6:32. Roll call, please.
Oh, it's me.
No, I think Erica's here now, so.
Is Erica here?
Erica is here.
I am here. I'm so sorry. I was in another meeting and I just got out of. So I'm here now, though. Swenson is present. Stickney.
Excused absence?
All right. Mraz
Here?
and Grunberg
I'm here.
and Montez.
I'm here.
Okay.
So that's roll call. Should we do the pledge of? Can we see the flag?
We can.
Okay,
I move we dispense with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I'll second that. All right. Can I get a move or a motion for the approval of the agenda?
I move we approve the agenda as written.
And I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so that's 400. Okay, public discussion. Any person may address the board upon any subject within the jurisdiction of the Orangevale Recreation and Park District, with each speaker being limited 3 minutes. However, the chairperson can impose reasonable limitations to the maximum time per person and per agenda item to allow the board to conduct the business. Any matters that require actions will be referred to staff or committee for a report and an action at a subsequent meeting. So at this time, we are going to, we're going to approve the minutes of the meeting.
Not yet, Lisa.
Okay, I thought we were going to do 6 and then go on to 13.
No, we were going to do through 5 and then
Okay.
go to 13. But we've got 3 people that I see that are guests tonight. Dennis Sarkeesian with the Rotary will be addressing him next, and then we have Larry Bain as our auditor. We'll be addressing that issue after Dennis. And I also see Dane Wadle here with the state. And Dane, you have your hand up, and did you want to speak to something on the agenda, or?
I just want to make a public comment, Barry, if you don't mind, just real brief. I know you've got a long agenda.
That's great. No problem.
Okay.
Well, shouldn't we have taken him with public discussion item 5?
Yes, this would be public discussion.
Yep. So go ahead, Dane.
Great. Well, thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. Dane Wadley. I am the field coordinator, as we call them, for the California Special Districts Association, basically CSDA's liaison to special districts in Sacramento County. Obviously, the district's been a member of CSDA. I certainly appreciate that. But wanted to just come on and, first of all, just congratulate you guys on earning the about $250,000 from the state COVID fiscal relief fund. This was one of the things this was CSDA's number one advocacy priority over the past 2 years, was getting specific financial assistance directed at independent special districts such as yourselves. And to see this all kind of come to fruition has been quite satisfying for us who've worked so hard on it. And I know obviously you guys as the district too, who had the actual real impacts. Certainly it's a benefit as well. So I wanted to congratulate you on that. And then just also thank you guys as well, because the district was certainly part of all of our advocacy efforts, writing letters and making phone calls to state elected officials. We had to develop a big coalition of over 46 legislators across the aisle, across the state, to get this money basically included in the state budget last June. So it was a Herculean effort, but we got it across the finish line. And as I said, you guys were certainly a part of that and helping get your legislators on board. So we certainly appreciate that, and certainly appreciate you, just applying for the program itself, because one of the things we were kind of hearing before from legislators and staff was, boy, are you sure that special districts really need this money? We don't agree with that. Yeah. And obviously we can certainly say that was the case, but now we have the proof, because the $100 million fund, the applications that came in for it actually exceeded the $100 million. So it certainly helped us back up our case in the state legislature and build some more credibility. So again, congratulations. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for all that you guys do for us. And I look forward to working with you guys going forward, and certainly be in touch as we have some more legislative issues coming up in 2022. So thank you for your time.
Thanks, Dane.
And thank you.
Dane, thank you very much. Really appreciate the advocacy, on behalf of the special districts. You've done a lot for us, so thank you.
Absolutely.
So
Thank you.
appreciate it. All right, so item 13B, the approval, oh, no, I'm sorry, 13A. That would be the acknowledgement recognized of the Rotarians.
Yes. Dennis Sarkeesian is the president of the Rotary Club of Orangevale. And several months ago, he reached out to me. This is before we were even members of Rotary. He reached out to me and said that the Rotary was interested in doing something for the community and creating some sort of a facility that could be used by people within our community. And ideas that they had at the time were park benches and drinking fountains. And right around that same time is when Jason Bain applied for and received a grant through CPRS and Greenfields Equipment for $4,600. And I thought, what a great way to put these monies together to help us have more leverage in purchasing the Greenfields equipment. So I brought that idea to Dennis, and he thought it was great. He took it back to the Rotary Club, and they were in support of that. So we combined the funds. We have over $10,000 worth of funds. The Rotary is contributing $5,700. All the equipment is about $16,000. And Dennis, just so you know, we did meet, Horacio, Jason, myself, and Doug Fulrott. He's our park maintenance foreman. We met with Stephen Blair on Monday to look at the facility, and we have a really good idea what we want to do, where we want to put it, and how it's going to look. And so things are moving forward, and we need to have everything complete by the end of April, and we're on a good timeline to do that. But the main reason for inviting Dennis here tonight is to thank him, thank the Rotary for their generous contribution.
It's certainly our pleasure to do this. As a 30-plus year resident of Orangevale and a user of the parks, I certainly appreciate all that you folks do in for our community. And it was just a pleasure to be able to reach out and do this. I recall from my days serving as an exec with the National Guard, it wasn't often that somebody called and said, "Hey, I've got some money for you that you can do something with." So it was fun to be able to do that. We look forward to partnering with you to put in that equipment and more importantly, the residents of our local area use it and for their physical well-being and mental health as well. It's a great way to use the money. So, thank you.
Thank you, Dennis. Please make sure and share our gratitude and appreciation to all the Rotarians.
We will be glad to share that at our meeting tomorrow. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis.
And with that, I better start preparing for the meeting tomorrow. So have a productive meeting. We'll see you soon. Take care.
Thank you.
All.
Okay,
Thank you so much.
All right, so we're on to item 13B, the approval of the Park District's fiscal audit 2020-2021. That would be our friend Larry.
That would be Larry. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, very good. Good to see you. So this is the audit for June 30, 2021. And I'm just going to go over it real briefly, and anybody that has questions can just jump in as I go or save them to the end. It's totally up to you. The page 1 of the report is the independent auditor's report, And this is where I give an opinion on your financial statements, which is basically what you're hiring me to do. And at the bottom of page 1, you'll see that it's an unqualified opinion. So that means based on our testing that the financial statements presented here are fairly stated in all material respects. So it's a clean, unqualified opinion. Starting on page 3, pages 3 and 4, you've got 2 sets of financial statements per governmental standards. And pages 3 and 4 are the government-wide financial statements, and these are presented on the full accrual basis of accounting like you would find with the business. And the major difference here is it shows your long-term assets and your long-term liabilities on page 3. So there's really nothing that really jumps out, any major changes from last year. So I'm not going to go over any detail on pages 3 and 4. The next set is on pages 5 through 8, and this is the fund financial statement presentation, and it's more on a snapshot of on a short-term perspective. It doesn't you won't recognize your revenue on full accrual. So if you accrue a receivable, if the money is received more than 60 to 90 days after year end, it'll be deferred as opposed to showing up in your income statement. But really, there's really no, in this case, there's no accruals that would have been subject to that availability measurement. And so the only thing I'll point out is that June 30, 2021, the district had about $1.6 million in cash in the general fund, which represented about 75% of your annual expenditures for the general fund in this fiscal year that we're looking at. So, I would consider that to be a pretty strong carryover cash balance from one year to the next. The next set of the financial statement is the notes to the financial statements on pages 9 through 21. And it just gives you a little more detail about what goes into the numbers and a little background on the district. I'll point out on page 15, this would be where a little more detail on your capital assets, which is your largest base of assets, and your long-term liabilities are just gives a little more detail there. On the liability side, the long-term debt for your capital leases, there's really nothing major there, just the normal expenditures for the debt service. The net pension liability did go up over $500,000 during 2021 fiscal year. So it went from about 1.4 million to a little over 2 million for the fiscal year. So something to keep an eye on. Barry did communicate to me that SCRS did have good financial results for the next measurement period. So the hope there would be that you'll see a significant reduction in the pension liability. But obviously that's the biggest liability facing the district. It actually exceeds the cash balance at June 30 in the general fund. So something to keep an eye on. But I did do a rough calculation, and it looked like SCRS had about a 26% return on investments in the last fiscal year. So your total pension liability was over $9 million, and the fiduciary net position, or the investments that are held by SCRS to pay that liability, were a little over $7 million. So if they earned 26% on that 7 million, that would be about 1.8 million, which would be close to your net pension liability. So let's hope that that's what happens. So, and that's about all that I was going to cover. Again, unless the board has any questions, I did spend some time going over numbers with Sharon, so I know that Sharon has reviewed the financials, and we did go over a few questions there. But anything else or any more questions from Sharon, I'll be happy to answer.
Yeah, and I do back to the pension, because I forgot. I was looking at so many other things, and then had to circle back with you on the pension because I forgot about the SCRS. They were now sitting at 94% funded versus 78% the prior year, and you're thinking that we won't see the benefit of that until that gets absorbed over time. When might we see it hit our books?
So they pretty much follow CalPERS in how they recognize that. So the first thing you have is the measurement period. So when they measure the 2021 fiscal year for the, I think they're typically 2 years behind on their, actually no, I'm 1 year behind. So the June 30, 2022 financials will be measured as of June 30, 2021. So really in the next cycle, you might see the effect, but they amortize that gain. It would be considered deferred inflow from the pension liability, and they defer that and amortize it over a 5-year period, just to smooth out the effects of investment gains and losses. So I would say over the next 5 years, as long as we don't see any dramatic drops in their investment returns, that's when you would see it would be over the next 5 years.
Because when I look on page 26, the lowest that our liability has ever been was 2015 at 476,000. I'd like to see it get down that low someday again.
That would be a good thing for sure. Yeah, and you mentioned that the CalPERS is showing, or I'm sorry, SCRS is showing a 94%. That may not be Orangevale. It's not across the board that just because SCRS as a whole is at 94%, each individual member within their risk pool will have a different percentage. So it doesn't mean that Orangevale will also be 94% funded.
Right, but hopefully not too far off.
Hopefully not. Yeah, that is true. Okay.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
And the only other, I have a comment, if I might, on page 12 regarding the capital assets. Just a notation that the acquisition of the church property buildings 1, 2, and 3, and the site improvements were pretty much done in the same fiscal year. So that's just an annotation to start date if something comes up that we are familiar with, not necessarily this board, but other boards to come. When you look back retroactively 5, 10 years from now, whoever's sitting in these chairs are going to say, when did we do the site improvements and all of that, the equipment and machinery input? That, just for a reminder, maybe an annotation in the report that the same was done to the buildings in the year of purchase and the following year, and that would pretty much earmark our start date regarding capital asset acquisition.
Sure. So, yeah, and typically we don't show that level of detail in the financial statements. However, I do maintain a depreciation schedule, and in the depreciation schedule, it has all that detail in it.
Okay.
And that is something that I typically do provide to the district.
Okay.
And I believe I provided it to Sharon this year.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
In fact, I think that is on page 16, where you do give some more detail.
Yeah, that would be right, Barry. Yeah, on the long-term debt, it does have some information there as far as what that debt was used for.
Yeah.
And in this case, it was the church property. So yeah,
Okay.
that is true.
And I did look at the fixed assets and had discussion. I don't always look at that one in detail and had some discussion with Larry about moving some of that construction in progress for Pecan into final fixed asset and depreciate it. But that was about it. But yeah, there was the detail of all the stuff that we purchase and capitalize is in those spreadsheets.
Yeah, it looks like we also satisfied all of the Gatsby items that we need to look at, and that was pretty good. I didn't see any issues.
You're up to date on that. There will be a new one coming up for next fiscal year, Gatsby 87, for lease operating leases. So we'll need to address that one come this next fiscal year.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
No, I don't have any others. Like usual, I really appreciate your work on this and making it understandable. It's pretty good, especially listening to ERAF here.
Yeah.
Right. Yes.
It's amazing.
So we,
Well, and I mentioned since the state has a surplus, can't we get some of that money back?
That's a good question. Yeah, that's a question I had as well.
Yeah,
The
when is
special
the
districts, we should be all petitioning to get our money back.
Yeah.
Or at least in abatement, not drawing it out. They might
Maybe
move-
that could be the CSDA's next project.
Right.
Yeah.
Wish Dane was still on the line.
all right. We'll have to ask him about that. But now that we've had the presentation from Larry in regards to the audit, and we've had discussion, is there any more discussion before we move for an approval?
I don't have any other questions at this end.
Okay. So I move that we approve the district audit for fiscal year 2020-21.
I second that.
All right. So it'll have to be a called vote.
Stickney is absent. Mraz,
Yes?
Brunberg,
Yes.
Montez,
Yes.
and Swenson, yes. So 4-0-0.
Larry, thank you again for all your hard work. We appreciate it.
Yes, Larry,
Okay,
thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Okay,
Larry.
Good seeing
Okay,
you.
Likewise.
Stay healthy.
You
So
too.
board will move back to agenda item number 6, and that will be the approval of the minutes from the previous meeting in January.
I move we approve the January 13, 2022 minutes.
I'll second that.
Okay. And it'll be a called vote.
All right. Oh, sorry, I am off of mute. Mraz,
Yes.
Brunberg,
Yes.
Montez,
Yes.
and Swenson, yes. And Stickney's absent, 4-0-0.
All right. So item 7, correspondence and advertisement in the Orangevale View.
Yeah, really just wanted to share the marketing that we're putting out there and acknowledge that it seems to be working. Our program registration is doing great. Our rentals are doing even better. And you'll see some of that in our report later on, the recreation report. One thing that I failed to include is an article that Dane was talking about earlier, an article stating that we did receive that $250,000 from the state for COVID relief. There is an article in the Orangevale View, I think it was from January 14th.
Yes.
So just wanted to bring that up.
All right. Thank you for that. We'll move on to item 8, the consent calendar. Do I have a motion to approve?
I move we approve the consent calendar.
I'll second that.
And that'll be items 8 through 8.3.
Jennifer, I'm sorry. Lisa, can I state
Yes.
something just to bring up to everybody's, you probably have noticed it, but Jennifer worked hard to get the report done with the property tax, the first round of property tax. came through. So our revenue, you'll see that in the revenue of our general fund, and it came in strong.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, woohoo!
Yeah, just want to bring that up before you go ahead and approve.
All right. Great. All right.
Okay, so Brunberg,
Yes.
Montez,
Yes.
Swenson, yes, and Mraz.
Yes.
All right, 400.
Item number 9, non-consent matters, general fund. Ratification for the claims of January 2022.
I move we approve ratification of claims for January 2022, page 24.
Second?
I'll second that.
Okay, Mraz. All right, Montez,
I abstain.
Swenson, yes, Mraz,
Yes.
and Brunberg.
Yes.
Okay, so that's 3-0 with one abstention.
So we'll move on to agenda item standing committees. Looks like we had administrative and finance.
We did, and we had that meeting last Wednesday, February 2nd, and I think this would be a good time to make a discussion of the primary purpose of that meeting was to talk about our funding options. It was, most of the discussion was about the benefit assessment versus a geo bond, and having some discussion, answering some questions, also gathering some questions that we could then forward on to either Susan Barnes or John Isom, and report those questions and answers back to the board, which I have done. But it was good discussion, and if Directors Brunberg and Swenson, would you like me to give a recap, or would you two like to talk about that?
I have no problem going over what we discussed. It was mostly kind of looking at pros and cons of the two options. We were also looking at what's the differences between them, right? What's a pro about one or con, but mostly then we documented all of these items, well, at least Perry did, in what he sent out to us. And they're two different types of funding mechanisms that you really need to look at what it means to the district in terms of timing, and what you think you can get done and how quickly get done. We did kind of discuss what Fair Oaks is undergoing right now because of their approved geo bond. And so I think it's going to be a good discussion when we bring it all to the board, but we couldn't come up with a recommendation for one way or the other. Is that how you would summarize it, Erica? I mean, we did come up with some questions, I think, for ISOM and SCI, and we got those answered. But the main concern that I brought up is the geo bond is going to build a lot of stuff, could potentially build a lot of stuff, then we'll have no money to maintain it. So that was kind of my big concern about going that direction.
When are we going to have? Are we going to have any additional presentation on this upcoming? Or
We can. The goal from here is, I understand it, is to try to make a decision at our March 17th board meeting. Our recommendation, maybe take a vote then as to which direction we want to go. And I'm thinking between now and then, it would be good to have, a special meeting to get the board together to discuss it in more detail. And if that would be helpful at that time to have either of those two consultants, be there to help answer questions, I can try to arrange that. They did provide the presentation at the last meeting. They gave valuable handouts, and they're available for questions between now and our decision.
I was looking at something, if I might, coming at the geo bond from a lay person outside looking in. One of the questions I would think, would be, explain to me why the geo bond is beneficial in that what kind of income can we expect from the improvement or improvements that we do? For instance, if we have a shelter out there, a larger shelter, or we have an additional building similar to this structure in excess of 12,000 square feet, what kind of income could we look at theoretically, and how would that support the maintenance and possible employment of other people? You see what I'm trying to get at?
Yes.
If I voted for something, how can I see, or what would I expect to see the income coming in from the improvement that we did? And how would that go to support the efforts of the geo bond?
But Manny, my question would be, if a geo bond or an assessment can get the same stuff, how would you explain to them to go one way or the other? I mean, if the assessment or the geo bond can buy those things, and the money will be the same because you can buy the same things with both of those, then I question, why are we looking at one or the other? What's the revenue? That should be, if we build this stuff, regardless of funding, what will that do to the district? And I don't think that's a question that the path we've gone down.
Okay, yeah, because I'm thinking as a voter out there, how would I look at it? You know, why should I vote for this? You see where I'm coming at? I'm not coming from the board, I'm coming from out there looking in.
I would see, what are we going to get? What are we going to get for our money? What are the assets that the district's going to build?
Yeah.
And we have that with all of our master plans.
Okay.
Our master plans say this is what we want to build.
Okay. I think we just need to be prepared for those kind of questions, because I kind of suspect they'll be out there. I got those questions addressed to me on the trail when they were saying, well, if we do this, what kind of income am I looking at? Why should I vote for that? And there was already some people that got wind of this, and they were saying, well, I don't want to even talk about it. You know, I don't think you should even go there. And then other people were saying, yeah, let's do it. But I think it's going to be a question we get hit with. We should be prepared in some fashion, I guess, for those kind of questions, and what kind of answer can we have prepared for them.
I think that's all part of the outreach that we have to do, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Whichever way we go, we have to outreach and have a plan. I think ISM and SCI, they have all the details, what you got to do. You got to go out there and get all the community on board. So that's going to be the work that we have to do, regardless of which venue or option we pick.
Okay.
That's got to be done no matter what.
Right. So Barry, your recommendation, is your recommendation a special meeting?
I think it would be helpful to have a special meeting where we can all talk and bring our ideas and share them, and then present maybe at the March 17th meeting for a motion and a vote.
How does the board feel about that? Any comment or?
I think it's a good idea. We had a really great discussion during our committee meeting that I think would be beneficial for all of us to be able to have the same type of discussion.
Okay. Well then, Barry, can I direct you to facilitate a date and time for a special meeting with the board of directors? Okay.
For sure.
All right. So we'll go on to the next item unless anybody needs to add anything.
Nope, not here.
The Recreation Committee report.
Yeah, so the Recreation Committee met a couple weeks ago, and the primary purpose of that meeting was the fee schedule. There was a lot that we discussed at the meeting, but the primary purpose was to look at our fee schedule, determine potential increases that we wanted to make, and that information is part of the recap that you should have received. And we're going to be taking this later on in the agenda. I think it's item J, 13J. So we can skip this for now and come back to it.
Excellent. All right, so let's move forward to item 8, the ad hoc report. The committee met on February 4th.
Yes, that was Directors Montez and Mraz, met with the community out near Sundance. Resident Tom DiGiacomo scheduled a meeting, and there were the two directors here, myself. From the city of Citrus Heights, we had Leslie Blomquist, the city engineer, and Casey Kempernar, one of the directors there with the city. And with the county, there was Lou Lee and somebody else with the Department of Transportation, as well as Supervisor Frost and her Chief of Staff, Matt Hedges. And I'm guessing there were about 25 or so residents in attendance as well.
Yeah, good turnout.
It was a really good turnout and bigger than we expected, and it ended up being a much larger agenda than we expected, that we agreed to at our board meeting in January. We agreed to walk these streets, the Highwood Way and Woodmore Oaks, to look at the concerns that they had about those. But it ended up being those issues in addition to Fair Oaks Crossing and the bridge in the trees and a couple other things that came up. I thought it started off with the residents being opposed to the trail, getting a little bit heated about some of the things that they've been hearing from their fellow residents. And as we stopped at each point along the way, and the county and the city was able to explain the trail and the safety features, I just felt the temperature drop from the residents. And by the end of the 2-hour meeting, I think most of the residents were in favor of the trail. At least they felt a lot better about it, the safety components, and most of the things that there were concerns about the trail were things that are happening now before the trail's even built. It's just part of the park, and then they saw that there's going to be actually a lot of safety features built in to this trail, and that there's been a lot of communication between OVparks, Sunrise, SMUD, the county, and that we're in this together, and that we're making it a really good project. So overall, I think the meeting was a very, very big success. Any input, Directors Montez and Mraz?
Nope, I agree.
I fully agree.
Right,
It was good. It was good we were there.
Yep.
it was.
That's wonderful news. I'm so glad to hear it.
All right, then. No more discussion on that. We'll move forward to item 11, the monthly activity report for January 2022.
Yeah, just a few items on my end. You met Dennis Arkeesian earlier, and he did present me with the check, so that is in our account, the check for $5,400. On January 11th, myself and Superintendent Oropeza met with Tom Cardin. He's the project director for Orangevale Fair Oaks Community Foundation, and we started discussing the big day of service and some project ideas. And Horacio and I compiled a list of 7 or 8 project ideas that we thought would be good for our district, submitted them to Tom, and he's considering those. I've had a couple conversations with Tom since, and there's a couple that he thinks would work better than others. And but the final plan isn't set yet. One thing that is set is the date. It's going to be Saturday, May 21st. So anybody that's able to assist, please add that to your calendars. January 29th, Coordinator Nadia Roberts and myself attended the Orangevale Community Open House at the Grange. It wasn't a very large turnout, but it was a good group of folks, and it was an opportunity for a lot of the community groups within Orangevale to get together and showcase what we offer. And it was a really nice day, really nice event. And then on January 31st, I attended the CARPD Zoom meeting with other district administrators up and down the state. We meet typically every 2 to 3 months, and always just great to bounce ideas off each other and learn a lot. And the topic of geobonds came up during that discussion, so it was good to see what others are doing about that, funding sources. Of course, COVID's always a big topic during those, as well as far as what's coming up with any kind of change in guidance and preparation. So with that, I will punt over to Jason for recreation.
Well, you can see on my little chart here that we're doing. Can you guys hear me? I had problems earlier.
Yep, I can hear you.
That we're still doing well with our revenue overall. It's been nice. I mean, January was the stellar month. We did have Tiger Sharks registration starting then, so there is a big spike from there. But we still have continuous facility rentals coming in. I mean, today we had 3 different people trying to get the same day. So, I mean, we're doing well, and everything's starting to pick up with it, all our programming and working on new guides. So,
Hey, Jason.
Yeah.
What about rentals for the new places? The new.
we have had a couple. We haven't had a lot, but it's one of those things. I think it'll pick up as we go, but we've only had a few. We had the first one of Manny's. I'm never gonna get it right, so
Steps towards closure.
I always wait for Barry because Barry's got it.
Took me a while, too.
So yeah, so that's a plus. We are seeing some people are coming down and looking at them. It's just going to take some time, I think, before we really have a lot of things going on. So yeah. Well, do you have anything?
No, I completely agree. Although they are getting a lot more recognition than, say, the activity building right off the bat when we started renting it. So at least it is getting questioned, and like you said, people are looking at it, the location. So fingers crossed.
It's one of those things, too. I think once that road is built, once that project is done, and we connect the 2 properties, it's going to help a lot.
To keep promoting that.
Nadia, anything you want to add?
No, I think we're good.
You good? We have the Best Friends Bash tomorrow.
Yeah, we're excited to still be able to do that. Mel's been working really hard on getting that going because she really grew that program, and then obviously we haven't been able to have it. So it'll be nice to be able to do it in a modified way.
Great. All right, Horacio, Parks Report.
Well, looks like summer is here and we have lots of sunshine now. So we were able to just clean up from previous storms and all the leaves coming down and getting the parks back in shape and now to full sun. And now we have the irrigation on key areas, especially ball fields, because we've been probably a month and a half without rain plus. So we really need a little water on the fields. I was checking them and probing them, so they're getting thirsty. Just staying busy on some of the cleanups. We lost a few trees, some in the nature area, disc golf, but small ones, not too large. We got a large branch that we removed from disc golf by hole 4 that was wedged up in another tree that was taken out when it came down. Apart from that, I talked to the county. They're doing the yearly cleanup of the creek. They were going to be done this week, so they should be done. And then also going back to the beginning of January, where we moved the decorations from the Christmas tree, and I want to thank Easy Stumps for letting us borrow their equipment to remove that. So that made it a lot easier, and it went pretty smooth on the takedown. I think it has been the best timing on taking that tree down. This time came pretty quick. And that's all I have. We replaced a lot of bollards in some of the parks, and a lot of them were in concrete. So I want to thank the guys for jumping on those and taking care of them.
Great. Thanks, Horacio. And one thing that came up during the walk with the residents at Sundance was their concern about homeless. And Horacio's been very instrumental in finding those encampments and addressing it, and also communicating effectively with Sunrise, with the park supervisor over at Tempo. And when they break up an encampment, they warn us, because they'll likely go across the street into Sundance, and vice versa with Horacio. He'll notify them. So the communications are excellent, and it's been helpful. And I brought that up at that meeting, and that made people happy as well. The only other thing we have here is the police report, and it was another back-to-back, very slow months, which is a good sign.
It is a good sign. All right. Well, then maybe we should move on to item 13C, and that's the approval of resolution 22-02-681.
I move we approve resolution 22-02-681, resolution directing preparation of the engineer's report for the Orangevale Landscaping and Lighting Assessment District, OLAD, of the Orangevale Recreation and Park District.
I'll
Second that.
Go ahead.
Do we have a second from Erica?
Yep.
All right.
All right. We good to vote?
Yes.
All right. Swenson, yes. Mraz,
Yes.
Brunberg,
Yes.
and Montez.
Yes.
All right. 400.
So then we'll move on to item 13D, the approval of resolution 22-0682.
I move we approve resolution 22-02-682, resolution directing preparation of the engineer's report for the Kenneth Grove Landscaping and Lighting Assessment District of the Orangevale Recreation and Park District.
I'll second that.
We have a second by Erica. Go to vote.
Swenson, yeah. Oh, sorry, no. Sorry, that was Stickney. Mraz,
Yes.
Brunberg,
Yes.
Montez,
Yes.
and Swenson, yes. 400.
All right. On to items, excuse me, 13E, approval of the agreement with ACCO Engineered Systems for the air conditioning replacement of the building.
I move we approve the agreement with ACCO Engineered Systems, the qualified low price for the air conditioning unit replacement on the building number 1 of the new property at the Orangevale Community Center Park in the amount of $16,469.62.
I'll second that.
All right, vote or discussion? Okay, go to vote.
Mraz,
Yes.
Brunberg,
Yes.
Montez,
Yes.
Swenson, yes. 400.
All right, 13F, award the Phase 1 concrete pathway repair project at the Orangevale Community Park.
I move we approve to award Phase 1 concrete pathway repair project at Orangevale Community Park to the qualified contractor with the lowest responsive quote.
I'll second that.
I beat you. That was a second with Lisa.
I'm trying to scroll down to it. It's like, where am I?
All right, go to vote. Any discussion?
Not for
Go
me.
to vote.
All right. Brunberg,
Yes.
Montez,
Yes.
Swenson, yes. Mraz.
Yes.
All right, 400.
All right, item 13I, which would be the approval of the agreement with Terror in, oh, wait a minute, excuse me. We need to go to item G.
D.
G is in George. 13G, approve the award to the pool pump replacement project for the Orangevale Community Swimming Pool.
I move we award the pool pump replacement project at the Orangevale Community Swimming Pool to the qualified contractor with the lowest responsive quote and direct the district administrator to prepare and finalize contract documents and begin the project on the soonest available date.
I second that motion.
All right, we got it. Good to vote.
Yes.
Montez,
Yes.
Swenson, yes. Mraz,
Yes.
Brunberg.
Yes.
All right, 400.
The next item, 13H, is the approval of the agreement for All Events Management Group to hold BOWA days. I'd like to recommend that we table this, considering I need to abstain because of interest, and I believe Director Swenson needs to as well.
So we'll table that to the March meeting.
Correct.
I'll add it to the agenda.
Thank you. So that brings us to item 13I, the approval of the agreement with Terror in the Night Productions to hold the April Fool's Psycho Circus.
How cute! I think this is great. This is going where they used to have where they had the Halloween stuff.
Yes, yes.
Is it the same company that did the Halloween?
It is. I'm very excited about it. I'm not fond of clowns, you know, and so, you know, who knows with the Psycho Circus. So, you know, it's great rental and it's a great exposure to our Regency property.
It is. It's great revenue.
Yeah.
I move we approve the agreement with the Terror in the Night Productions to use Orangevale Community Center Park for the April Fool's Psycho Circus attraction from March 25th to April 2nd and authorize the district administrator to execute the agreement.
I'll second that.
Right. Any further discussion? Then we vote.
All right, Swenson, yes. Mraz,
Yes.
Brunberg,
Yes.
Montez.
Yes.
All right, 400.
All right. We'll
Yeah,
move
when
on.
I saw that, I was like, "Whoa, cool!"
That is awesome.
Yeah.
So we'll move to item 13J, the approval of resolution 2202-683. The resolution establishing a schedule of fees for the park. District Administrator, do you want to expand?
Well, I don't know that I need too much if everybody's read this, but it's, you know, the main bullets are on that front page, on that table, as to what we agreed to, or what the committee agreed to, in their recommendations to the full board. And we factored in, of course, are we competitive, are our prices competitive? Most cases they are. Some cases we feel like they should be increased by 5% or 10%, and others 0% because we're already near the high end of our competitors. So, and this is what the committee agreed to, and that's what's before the board.
Yeah, you guys did a great job, I think.
All right. So let's.
I move we approve Resolution 22-02-683, establishing a schedule of fees for the use of park and recreational facilities, programs, and services.
I'll second that.
Right. All right. Any
Mraz?
discussion?
Oh,
Let's
sorry.
vote.
Mraz,
Yes.
Brunberg,
Yes.
Montez,
Yes.
Swenson, yes. 400.
Right. So item 13K, consider approving a policy that makes it conditional for any applicants for new employment. District Administrator, would you like to expand on this one?
Yes, I would. So, you know, try not to take this lightly. This is something that not many agencies around us are doing. Just as an agency, I feel like our obligation is to look out for the well-being of our staff, our volunteers, our patrons as best we can. And the city of Sacramento has already implemented this quite a while ago. All new hires need to be fully vaccinated. The Pleasant Hill Parks and Recreation District took it further, and they're requiring everybody, not only new employees, but current employees, to also be vaccinated. What I'm recommending is more what the city of Sacramento is doing, any new hires to be fully vaccinated and to prove it. I met with staff on Tuesday, and after some discussion, I'd like to make an amendment to that, and that would be all new staff ages 18 and over to be fully vaccinated. It's, easier for people to control themselves as adults, making those decisions themselves, as opposed to forcing that on the parents. But and we also feel it would help us to, attract more staff for important summer programs, such as lifeguards and summer camps.
So we actually do employ less than 18-year-olds?
Oh, yes, for summer programs, yes, lots of 16 and 17-year-olds.
So I'm kind of torn on that, I'll be honest.
I understand, yeah.
Because honestly, a 16-year-old can bring along the same concerns as an adult, right? So if we are trying to protect our community and our current staff, I mean, we're not doing so if we're allowing a certain portion of our new hires to not be vaccinated where other ones are. It's almost, I want to say, maybe need to look at the policy and see if there's anything that might represent the equality of the policy.
Yeah, it's like, and then what do we require of the unvaccinated 15 to 18-year-olds? I'm assuming we don't hire less than 15, so we're looking at just a small range of age, I guess.
Right, we don't hire anybody under 15, do we?
No.
And how is that going to work with our volunteers as well, right? Because we do have junior volunteers, correct? And so wouldn't we want them to be just as diligent in protecting our guests and our staff as well? So I'm just a little, the age line, I think.
Yeah, I understand. It's, we're.
It's tough,
It is.
but if I'm going to go get a job and the employer requires me to be vaccinated, then I can either not go to work there and go somewhere else. I get that puts us in a small position as well, but it's the requirement of the job, whether I'm 15 or I'm 18.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like we may lose some people, but we also may gain others, that feel like it's a much safer environment. There's that possibility too.
Well, I'm looking at if it was me, right?
Yeah.
So I'm looking at it, I'm 18, I'm going to go get the shot because I want to work there. However, that 17-year-old right next to me does not. That brings concerns for me.
Yeah, and one of the main concerns too, one of the reasons I like this policy in general is liability, and when you lose employees to COVID for 5, 7, 10 days, it's a big impact. And
Yes.
as we'll be talking later, we're also responsible for paying for their sick leave when they're out. So the less opportunity we create for those liabilities, the better off we are financially as well as health reasons.
Do we know what our ratio of 15 to 17-year-olds are to the amount of 18 and above that we hire? Melissa, is that something that you would on the rec?
Jason and Nadia would probably
Jason?
be the best.
Nadia, okay.
A good majority of my wrecking crew staff were under 18 last summer.
I would say that's about the same. We rely heavily upon going to the high schools and trying to get, like for me, the aquatics kids or anything like that. That's where most of our staff really is in that age, because we only have some of those kids that graduate a year or so after they graduate, and then they go off to moving in permanently to school or getting another job.
About 80%.
And then if they're not vaccinated, you jeopardize shutting down the whole wrecking crew or the whole activity, I don't know, I think you run the risk if you don't require all of them to be vaccinated. I'm inclined to keep the policy as written and not updated by age.
I also think, though, that we would lose a lot of potential kids, for staffing, that we might not have things run as well. I mean, you look at how things are between people getting it vaccinated and not vaccinated right now. The vaccinated are still getting Omicron.
If I might add, I'm not sure if the rest of the board is aware, there's that new law that just was signed recently, yesterday or today.
It was yesterday.
Yes.
Yesterday. What was it? It's SB
114.
114, that we're now responsible for paying people on sick leave with COVID, and that could be retroactively as well. So,
Right, but
and
we're still
that's just imposed, it just came about without, I think personally, without regard to what the cost is to the employer. And it's non-profit plus for-profit entities in the state of California. So
that is, I mean, that for me, Manny, I mean, I saw that, and that's not the big concern for me. I think we need to know what the.
we don't know what the impact's going to be for us
Well,
yet.
we don't, but my concern is the for a section of people and then not for a certain group of people.
Yeah.
That kind of bothers me.
It's a step in the right. It's a step in the right direction.
Have we looked into legally what our, I mean, someone's going to say, I don't understand because I'm 18, I have to have it, and that 17-year-old doesn't. I mean, we need to know if we can, if that is a liability that for us, or if we're, it's okay for us to have those kind of policies. I'm not saying it's discriminatory, but it's a concern.
Sure.
Well, if we keep the existing policy.
I would agree. I mean, in this, it did say that you're going to have it approved by Capri, approved by Capri, right? I agree. Like, I think if we're going to require it, we should require it of all.
Yeah, and I'd like to know what Capri says, because I think it puts us in a very precarious position. I fully understand the challenges of the wrecking crew and how important those kids are to us, but I also want to make sure that we're being
The one thing with the youth that are hired during the summer is they're primarily outdoors. There's some indoor activities with wrecking crew, but the aquatics is outdoors almost entirely, except for when they're in the lobby, in the restrooms. So there's that advantage of the summer. It's a step in the right direction. I mean, we could.
it's a step in the right direction for me, though. I'd like to know where Capri is first.
Right.
And know that if we are, but I almost think everybody should, but I'd like to know where Capri is first before I vote.
Okay. I checked with Capri just in general about new hires, but I did not check with them specifically about 18 and over. So I'll follow up on that.
Yeah, and we're also dealing with a population of kids, and anybody who's been around kids knows that they're a walking petri dish. So, I just think if we stick with the existing policy, we don't have to address the age question. It's at all employees.
Yeah, I think the concern is, will we have enough staff to operate the pool?
That's a question, but I think there's people out there that, I don't know. I might be prejudiced on this because of personal experience, but, it's, I would send my kid somewhere where I knew was safe, or as safe as could be. So I don't know. That's all I'll say on that.
Right. The district administrator for Pleasant Hill, Michelle Lacey, she told me that she was very worried when their board wanted to implement everybody needing to be vaccinated, she thought she was going to lose a lot of her staff, and so it turned out she didn't lose anybody. They did get vaccinated, but that was current staff. You know, when you're hiring somebody new and they have an option between working here or working, you know, at another district or.
How are we going to put that in our manual? Some of you need it, some of you don't. You
Right.
know,
Yeah, it would be,
I mean, I think we need the consistency.
Yeah.
I think we have to stand strong that, yes, we may lose some people, but that's their choice, right? It's a choice.
Yep.
It's their choice not to get a shot to work here. You know, and those that are choosing to get the vaccine to work here, you know, then we need to keep them, and we need to keep our current staff safe. I feel funny about it, Barry, the age thing. It just doesn't fit right.
It sounds like I should, do we want to make a motion and see if we have enough to pass it?
Sure.
I move we direct staff to create a policy that makes it conditional that any applicants for new employment or volunteer opportunities with the district must be fully vaccinated against COVID-19 before being hired, employees, and beginning work, employees and volunteers. The draft policy must be reviewed and approved by Capri and legal counsel before being fully implemented by the district.
I'll second that.
So that includes volunteers?
Yes, it includes volunteers.
Okay.
So there's no, I read the recommended motion without
There's no age.
Yeah.
without the adjustment for age. So that's my motion, and Manny seconded it.
Okay.
Guess we could keep discussing it, but
Yeah.
I'd move for a vote.
All right. Is this a roll call vote or?
Yeah.
Might as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Mraz,
Yes.
Brunberg,
Yes.
Montez,
Yes.
and Swenson. I'm going to say yes as well. So that's 4-0-0.
Okay. Thank you.
thank you.
Okay. All right. I know that was a tough one, and we appreciate all our staff and all their hard work. And not that I want to add anything more onto their plate, but
Well, you can't say we're not conscientious, that's for sure.
no, and we do appreciate you guys. Want to, you know. So okay, we'll go on to item. My glasses on. 13L, the approval of board of directors assignments of each of the 7 standing committees for the calendar 2022.
It looks like they were just flip-flopped, right? Is that right? Like
Yeah.
they're the same as last year.
Yeah, yours didn't change at all, Director Swenson.
I thought I was like just switched to like.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes, you're the chair now, you're the chair of a couple,
Chair.
yes.
Yeah. Okay.
But there were a couple switches. Director Mraz and Director Stickney switched between recreation and planning. And I think there was another switch in there somewhere. Director Brunberg, I think you were replaced by Director Stickney in government.
Yeah.
And everything else remained the same except for who's the chair of each committee.
Yeah, the chair's changed.
Cool.
Works for me.
I move to approve the board of directors assignments for each of the standing committees for the calendar year 2022. I guess that's an all in favor.
Aye.
Aye.
Wait, somebody second it? I don't think anybody
Oh,
seconded it.
sorry.
You got ahead of yourself. All right. Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, 4-0-0. Move on to director and staff comments.
I'll go ahead, I'll go first.
Okay.
We talked a little bit about the updates in COVID. First of all, our district has been dealing with COVID cases or close contacts requiring quarantining. And as a small agency with fairly thin staff, it definitely has an impact when people are out. And I want to really commend the staff that have been filling in and keeping business going. I know it's been very hectic for several of us these past couple of weeks. And so the update to the guidance, as I'm sure you know, the mask mandate has been lifted effective Wednesday the 16th. And of course, if you're fully vaccinated and you want to continue to wear your mask, of course, you're welcome to. If you're not fully vaccinated indoors, you are required to continue to wear your mask. And if you are fully vaccinated, you have the option. And we talked a little bit already about the supplemental sick leave, but that was approved. There were several questions I had. I didn't think it was very clear reading the bill. I did ask those questions of Matt Duarte at Capri and California Association of Special Districts, and he answered those questions. It's for agencies of 26 or more employees. It didn't state whether those are full-time employees or full-time equivalents. I did learn that it is based on your payroll with the most employees, full-time or part-time. If it's over 26, then this applies to you. And we do have pay periods with over 26 employees on payroll. So this does apply to us. It's much like a couple others that we had that expired, where if anybody has COVID or they need to leave work for reasons related to COVID, such as getting their vaccines, quarantining because of a close contact, taking care of a family member that they're responsible for, then they would be, wouldn't need to use their sick leave. They would get a bank of 40 hours, and if that 40 hours is exhausted, there's another bank of 40 hours that has other conditions, but they're not too strict. So, and also learned that if somebody had used some of that bank that they had during the last 2 rounds of this relief, they start with a clean slate. So everybody's starting with a 0 bank in their account. So it does take effect immediately, and I'm asking staff who supervise others to create their list of employees that missed work because of COVID-related reasons. And between Jennifer and I, we will have a budget impact up to date that I will inform the board of. But this is starting January 1st. It ends September 30th. And already we have many hours that are going to be reimbursed. People that took sick leave, that their sick leave is going to be replenished because of this. So I think it's a good thing in many ways, but it's also an expensive thing for the district. And I think that's...
It won't necessarily be cash out of our pocket. It's that
right.
We put more money back. We put more hours in their sick leave, so it'll cost us more down the road when they use that up again.
Correct. It's more of a liability.
It is a cost. Yeah, it's a cost that's an increased liability, as
Correct.
Larry Bain would put it.
Yes.
Correct. But aside from that, just, tip of the hat to the staff and the board, especially we've had the committee meetings and there's a lot on our plates, and I want to thank you for all the support you've been giving me.
All right. Well, thank you, Barry. We appreciate you as well.
Thank you.
Go on to, let's see, we got Jason. Do you have anything else?
Got nothing.
All right. How about you, Melissa? All right. Horacio?
Just thanking all the staff for all their work out there and bringing the parks back to a better state, and also for doing a little extra on pressure washing with disinfectant to disinfect all of our playgrounds and drinking fountains and benches out there in all the parks, just because of this little extra of spread of the virus that we had. So the guys did a little extra. So I would like to acknowledge that and share it with the board. And that is it.
Awesome. Well, thank them. Oops, sorry. Nadia?
Just reiterate what Barry said. Staff's been working really hard, and I think we all appreciate the support that we've been giving each other. And wish us luck as we gear up for summer.
Awesome. All right. Thank you. How about you, Sharon?
I got nothing.
All right. Manny?
Well, I take my bag, my pickup thing when I go to parks. Went to Sundance and I came back with an empty bag. There wasn't even a scrap of paper to pick up or even a gum wrap.
That's awesome.
So that was kind of good to see. And it just shows that people enjoy clean parks and we have clean parks. So that's nice to see. Staff and people and the people in Orangevale or our users like it too. So it was good. Good,
Great.
clean parks.
Thank you, Manny. How about you, Erica?
I don't really have anything to share. Just you guys are doing awesome, especially through the COVID and everything. So thank you.
Well, I'd like to share congratulations to the staff, all the staff for the Shady Oaks activity in Orangevale, receiving that, as well as the best municipal facility award for the best of Orangevale. Was very excited to see that and to know that you guys work hard and the community really appreciates it. So please thank everyone on our behalf and congratulations. And we know we have a road ahead of us with summertime and we'll do whatever we can to support you. So, all right. Can I get a motion to adjourn? Oh, items for next time. Funding options, the electrical vehicle charging stations, policies and procedure updates, and we'll get an update on our pool repairs. So, exciting stuff for next time.
Yep.
Agenda.
Director Montez,
Yes.
just help remind me when you come in tomorrow to have you sign 3 resolutions and the minutes from last
I
week.
sure will.
Thank you.
I will.
All right.
All right. So,
I move we adjourn.
I second.
All in favor?
Bye.
Aye. 400.
All right. Everyone be well and be safe.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Thank
You too.
Good night, thanks.
Good night.